guys. Welcome to The Social Block. This is the podcast where we explore the intersection between blockchain technology and society. Together, we'll take a deep dive into how this new technology can shape our institutions, our individual lives, and even our culture. And hopefully, we'll also end up with a more empowered and equitable society. I'm your host, Magy, and today's episode is called Will Web3 Gaming Take Over Reality? With Ian Bentley, CEO of WAGMI Games. Hi, Ian.
Hi, Magy. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Doing well. Good morning, good evening, wherever you're at in the world.
Yeah, it's the afternoon over here. I know it's morning for you. So thanks so much for joining us. I thought we could start with like a quick intro of you.
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Ian Bentley. I am the CEO of WAGMI Games. My background actually starts all the way back from the beginning of Web2. I was in a rock band and I wanted to do all the flyers and things like that for the band. And one of the buddies of mine that built a computer so I could learn graphic design was like, you need a domain name. And I'm like, what's that? And that's how far I go back as far as Web2 is concerned. So I've been basically in search engine marketing, search engine optimization, understanding, consumer funnels, consumer acquisition for pretty much my entire career. Had a really cool liquidation event with one of my companies. And what led me to this project right now is the fact that I truly believe that the decentralization and digital collectible assets that people own without having, for example, a game studio determine whether they can continue to trade them regardless of what happens to the fate of that game studio is kind of the next big frontier, blockchain and things like that. It's definitely a weird, growing pain, experience in this industry with all the weird stuff that consistently happens. But what we're trying to do here is we're trying to be, kind of the one of the few shining stars that does things on an ethical level, and is going to actually create, a lot of the trust within a very weird industry that we're in. So, so that's basically what's led me to WAGMI Game Co.
So, tell us, I guess, a little bit about what Web3 gaming actually is and what WAGMI Games Co. is in that context.
We got into this project just shy of 2 years ago, and we definitely could recognize that people owning their assets in the form of NFTs. I don't like to call them NFTs or digital collectibles. I think NFT is a technology, and that's an acronym that actually I've published something in Forbes that says NFT is the 3-letter bad word. Just people don't understand it. It's also just a label that really it's just an underlying technology. But to us, we believe that digital collectible ownership is the way to go. And we are simplifying things dramatically here. We believe that there's been a couple of Petri dish tests that have been successful and have not been successful. So, for example, the play to earn aspect of it and the dual tokenomics and all that stuff. We actually don't believe in any of that. We don't think it's a sustainable model. And we don't believe that should be the reason why people play games. People should play games because they're fun, because they like to play games, and not because they're over there trying to grind to make money or tokens or whatever they might be. So the play to earn part of it, we're not too bullish on. It's really, again, the digital collectible ownership part of it. But the other thing that there's two other things that a lot of gaming studios in Web3 that we feel have just not had their eye on is, number one, it's mobile gaming. Everybody is really focused on first person, third person shooter, the wow factor. And of course, we know in crypto, you have to have the wow factor in order for people to get excited about things. Where if you look at the mobile aspect of gaming, mobile accounts for console and PC revenue combined. So there's way more money in mobile, and it's actually exponentially growing as far as differentiation of the percentage. So we believe that we have a very good opportunity to expose a lot of people to digital collectible ownership as far as mobile is concerned. And the other thing that we're focused on at WAGMI Games is we're focused on zero friction. And what I mean by that is connect your wallet. Well, instantaneously, 96% of the world don't know what that means. Or you need crypto to buy an NFT. Well, instantaneously, probably even a bigger percentage of the world's like, okay, so now I have to connect a wallet, and then I have to transfer Ethereum into this wallet, and then maybe connect it to L2. Gone. Like, those people are history. You're not going to get them back. And what we've been developing is essentially a frictionless system in which all you do is you click a link, you download the game in the Android store or Apple store. In fact, as of today that we're recording this, we just launched our closed beta on the Google Play Store. So we're very excited about that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. And what's cool about that is not just the game, it's the fact that anybody can download it and anybody can double click their phone and pay through Google Play Store. And what we've developed is a back-end technology in which everyone has a custodial wallet. So we set that up for everybody. And when somebody purchases a card within the game, we just basically give them their NFTs in their custodial wallet. So they own their NFTs without them even knowing about it. And we have not required any bit of crypto or blockchain or NFT talk or anything like that. It's really just play the game and purchase it. And we're one of the first companies that we know of in the world that's implementing this technology.
I feel like that's something that at Nexo we do a lot as well as like the custodial side of it. I know that there was so much friction essentially with any kind of centralized or custodial wallets last year, but ultimately, not everybody has the crypto savvy to really operate in this world. And in the Web3 gaming industry, I guess, like you can't expect every single person who's a good gamer to also be a good, a good blockchain nerd. They're not all, there, and maybe they want to participate, but they just don't have the knowledge, and that's just not very good. So I guess like you have that custodial element going for you as well, which is really nice. It's essentially just this on-ramp. It's very easy.
And here's the thing. You have your blockchain maxis. You have your, I don't want anybody to know about who I am, where I'm at in the world, et cetera, et cetera. That's like a far right or far left stance in politics. Majority of people are in the middle, right? So it's like, okay, I want to utilize this technology, but okay, if I want to have ownership of it, I can. But if you guys just set it up for me, and when I want to take ownership and go off the grid or whatever it might be, I can once I learn that. But most people are just like, hey, listen, I just want to get in, for example, whatever, the app might be, for us, it's gaming, get in, play, have some fun. And yeah, you can't rely on the maxis of the world to dictate what the majority will do. And I think that the custodial, non-custodial, we have a hybrid approach for it where you can gain ownership if you want to anytime. We're just helping you out, right? So it's a step-by-step process. Walk before you run.
I mean, yeah, like any custodial wallet is by definition, like if it's a proper, blockchain ecosystem, like just a custodial wallet, you should be able to withdraw those NFTs or those assets from a custodial wallet into a non-custodial wallet if you want to, and you can use one. Like that's fine.
Yep. Yeah. You gain ownership of it and take it from us. We give you the access to it.
Yeah. I mean, it's yours. Take it from us.
Right. Just take it. Yeah. It's like, we're giving you the infrastructure. So, one of our main strategies is, to onboard mass adoption, get the 96% of people who are not into crypto, and then teach them step by step. Like, so gamifying some of the educational funnels. Hey, Edalium is our soft currency in our game. Hey, if you watch this 1 minute video and complete it, you'll get X amount of Dalium, which you can go purchase something cool in the game. But that video is about what is blockchain, or what is an NFT, or what is a wallet, or what is crypto. And, we just feel like if you just get somebody into an ecosystem for something they like, and then you gamify the education process and not have it in their face or lead with it, we feel that's the way that we're going to get a lot of people into mass adoption. And then at that point, once people understand a little bit more, let them go explore. Let them go explore other games. Let them go explore other parts of Web3, crypto, et cetera. So, it's really just, again, walk before you run is our philosophy, and don't lead with the technology.
Well, I think we touched on so many of the things I wanted to specifically ask about in this episode already. So you kind of mentioned adoption. So how do you think Web3 gaming is doing in terms of adoption, and how has adoption for Web3 gaming and blockchain in general through basically through just Web3 gaming or GameFi, if, you said you're not very into that, how has that proved easy or challenging?
Yeah, so far nobody's proved it, period. There's no one out there that has proved the model for mass adoption. Everybody who's focused on games that have come out are still crypto based. They're still earning based. They still are NFTs, connect your wallet. There's very few and far in between that are even on the radar that have the same philosophy that we have. So, and that's why we're excited to come to market, because as far as GameFi is concerned right now, all of the beautiful games, there's a lot of games that people are building right now that are beautiful, right? You've got a lot of the first person, third person shooters, the real world, excitement of PC and console games, but they're still a couple of years away from being able to compete against Web2 games. And remember, gamers game because they like to play.
Yeah, I actually looked up some statistics, and while there was a lot of specific, gamers were looking at, how financially lucrative it is to join a Web3 game, whether there's an airdrop in the beginning. Apparently airdrops are really important to them because that's essentially kind of like free tokens. But a deciding factor still remains what the game looks like and what the gameplay is like. And yeah, unfortunately, Web3 games are still just way behind regular, online games. And even, just the more old school single player games. I've seen some really beautiful, engaging work. I don't game much myself, but I have a baby brother who does. So I've seen a lot.
And I think that one of the focuses, so it's a catch-22. It's during the tulip phase of NFTs and during the last bull run, everybody was coming out with a play to earn game. And everybody was like, oh, it's going to be amazing. And game 1 is this, and game 2 is this. And we already have a plan for game 3 and game 4. It's hard to develop a good game. If you want it to be original, if you want it to be exciting, if you want the gameplay to be where it needs to be, and you want there to be an IP behind it where you can get user acquisition. There are so many moving parts for a successful game that if it's just about a game that's a copycat of IP, like for example, we see so many in mobile, especially copycats of like Clash of Clans, that feel, what Supercell is, where, okay, well, it's exactly the same IP. All you've done is changed it like 10%. And other than that, what are you doing differently other than introducing, oh, now you can make money in the game?
Yeah, what value does that bring besides monetary value? Because that just, besides monetary value, which, that's a kind of value, where's the value to the actual game and to anything else really for the experience?
Exactly. And one of the main things that we're focused on, we've been focused on from the very beginning, is our IP. And what that means is what our characters are, what the lore is, what the story behind it is, and create something that's completely unique in the space. It doesn't matter if it's Web 2 or Web 3. So our CGO, Luis Trujillo, he has come up with all the backstories from our characters, have come up with the characters from the beginning, and our entire lore, it takes place 1,000 years from now, in which aliens invade the Earth to mine the core element called Nephi, which is nickel iron, which is actually the core element, and the galactic war happens. And basically the humans have to come together across the entire Earth and create what's called WAGMI defense. We're all going to make it against the aliens. So we've kind of taken a little bit of fun part of the acronym of crypto and really have made it into our lore. Honestly, our goal is to, when people hear WAGMI, they want, it's really about aliens or humans, not necessarily, crypto, acronyms or influencers or what have you. But we just have fun off of the acronym because we believe that there's marketing prowess when it comes to that phrase. But that being said, it's really creating a universe, right? So if you think about who's successful in gaming, you've got your Marvel Snaps and, some of these,
like League of Legends. Also, they have a lot of lore and a lot of stories. World of Warcraft, I think, as well. Elder Scrolls has stories.
All the ones that you're going to really remember that you want to continue to play are going to have that lore and story. And the way we look at it is, the cards that you play in the game are quote unquote the NFTs, the digital collectibles that people actually own. So why would you just go and get more cards and play more cards? Just because you're exploring which character you think that you can relate to, or wow, I've not played that character, or I saw him on the map and wow, he's got this cool deal. Let me go explore him. And then you click on his card and you can read about the lore. And we're in talks right now with anime series. We've already got our first comic book out. We're working on the second comic book. So we're really focused on getting people into the ecosystem, immersed into our universe, And then at that point, it doesn't matter what they're excited about. In fact, we already have a cosplay costume that one of our co-founders, Scott Herman, got into and walked around Times Square a couple months ago. We're going to be releasing a lot of that footage here in the next month or so. But it's really just, going to meet the gamers where they're at, as opposed to expecting them to come on the dark side to blockchain. And especially with all the FUD that's out there and all the rug pulls and the weird toxicity that really is a lot of crypto, there are going to be the companies that come on that are crossing the line of weirdness to, oh, now I understand what the use of blockchain is. And it makes a lot of sense. And yeah, you're going to have this weird, cesspool of, gamblers and degens. And granted, hey, listen, we're all about, people going in and trying to make some money on meme coins. That's great. Have some fun. But I mean, when it's all said and done, it's going to be a migration of users into saying, well, if I'm going to play this game versus this game, and the IP is fun, and I like the lore, and I like the characters, and I like the characters of this game, but this game, I actually own the assets versus this other game that I don't. When you put that in front of consumers, and granted, we're talking probably over the next 24 to 36 months before this really starts to, become that decision, because there's that many games that are creating that decision. Why would anybody pick the one where you don't own the stuff? Like, it doesn't make sense if you're comparing apples to apples. And we just believe with WAGMI Games, we're one of the first companies in the world that are, bridging that gap with mass adoption, zero friction. It's mobile. Anyone can play it in the world. We've got all the IP, the lore, the characters. I mean, we literally, our founders pack that we're releasing here shortly with new characters that we've recreated. We actually hired a company called GadgetBot that is very selective on the companies that they work with. They have done the artwork for Call of Duty, for Apex Legends. They've done movies like Transformers. Their entire, they came in and redid all of our characters, which are now all 100% AAA gorgeous characters. And we're just spending all that time on that because we know that if we want to compete in the real world, we have to be able to put our best foot forward. And there's a lot there. And when you get to know me, I get fans. So yeah.
I have a couple things to say to that, actually, because like you made a couple really good points there, specifically about both the visual element of gaming and like how that, and also the storytelling, the lore element, that like Web3 gaming specifically is really attentive to that. Your like WAGMI Games is very attentive to that. And because my question was about adoption, I asked on purpose because I read a statistic somewhere that I think it was like 49 or basically 50% of blockchain transactions in 2022 were actually gaming related. And I was just like, how is that? That's impossible. Like, how is that true? Because that's incredible in terms of adoption terms. And I think like what you said about the lore, the storytelling, the meeting gamers where they're at, that's what's actually onboarding all of these people. That's what makes it so easy for them to make blockchain transactions, because they're just kind of like, no, the game makes it easy for me. And also, I think gaming in and of itself, Web3 can be a very brutally non-user friendly place. And creating a game by definition means putting a layer on top of that. When you're playing like, the Elder Scrolls. I know this is like a really old school example. I don't game, but you don't see the code underneath it, right? You're not riding the horse and like seeing all the little numbers flash by and commands go by or whatever. You just see it. And there's this like beautiful visual and storytelling layer over that. And I think that like my theory is that that's what's driven adoption, that actually Web3 gaming has a superpower that not many companies are leveraging because they're trying to turn it into finance. And it's not just about finance. It's about story. It's about visual. It's about play and playing. So I think you had a really good point there. And like, it's just amazing to me how this specific and I don't know, sector of gaming is actually driving its own adoption, but also blockchain adoption.
Yeah, and if you think about it, and we're talking about statistics. So if you look at entertainment on a whole, and you take a pie chart, 70% of all the revenue globally is gaming. 10% is music, 20% is box office.
70% is gaming.
Yep. Gaming revenue in the world dwarfs Hollywood and music combined. Like it's 3x from.
God, I should have listened to my mom when she was telling my brother to start making money off of leveling up characters, because he's a pretty good gamer. And she was just like, you should start making money off of this. And I was just like, no, you should go to university.
Well, it's funny. It's funny. Your mom is smart, but yes, leveling up your character in blockchain is different because of the open marketplace. And that's where we believe. So, our philosophy is don't encourage somebody to play a game to make money. But if they grind and they want to level up their characters, they want to upgrade their characters, should they want to, there's something of value. One thing that, I'm a little bit older. I've got, array of different age kids, and my buddies are the same way. And the amount of money that's being spent on app stores from parents to kids is hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month, right? If you think about that. And when I talk about our project to my friends that are like, okay, I've got kids that are spending all that money. And I'm like, yeah, you actually can own your assets and sell them afterwards. So for example, the kid is done after a year playing all of the games that they've spent $1,000 on. Well, if they've leveled them up, maybe you actually can make money and sell them. Or even if they haven't, maybe it's worth 10, 20, 30% off the dollar.
This is like a really cool blockchain improves real world example of selling your child's clay pots that they made in kindergarten, but just better, because you might actually get quite a lot of good value out of that.
Well, not only the value to the parents if they want to sell them, but think about teaching kids the value of
their work.
Yeah.
And grinding, essentially. Yeah.
And grinding. So you have grinded, you've leveled up your cards. Dad, I want to get that new t-shirt. You've spent $150 in the app store this month. What are your cards worth? Oh, my cards are worth like $650, $700 on the market. Well, great. If you want that t-shirt, now it's time to understand the value of money. So sell one of your cards and go buy that t-shirt.
Yeah, it's also really good because that's this like in-game economy, which is like one of the main features of so many Web3 games. And like you said, you don't have to, the game doesn't have to be gamified. It doesn't have to be a play to earn model to be able to bring you value and revenue. And like, I also had this like random thought of like, we've been talking about grinding in terms of like the gaming slang for it, which just means playing a lot and playing hard and smart. Just for, anyone who's not a gamer who is just a bit confused about grinding, I guess.
Yeah, not the app.
Yeah, not Grindr, the app, and also not what teenagers do at prom.
Yeah, grinding a game. It's like playing and leveling up and getting better and basically it's having a flex, right? All gamers love to flex on how, their points or what level their card is, or do they have a legendary card versus a common card? And it's always that FOMO with gaming. Everybody in crypto knows FOMO, right? But it's the same with gaming. But if you take out the element of why they're actually playing and you keep that same exact mindset as to the grinding mentality and wanting to flex, but at the same time now giving them some value that they can trade should they want to. Again, I think that's the important part of what we're trying to do. If you want to trade your cards on the secondary market afterwards, we'll teach you how to do it. But that's not the reason why you're coming into the game to play. You're coming into the game to play because it's competitive, it's super fun, you like the lore and the stories, the IP relates to you. But yeah, it's, coming back to your original question, the state of Web3, we really, and we've always said this from the beginning, we want to be the case study on how to do it right and how to actually achieve mass adoption. And like I said, we're in closed beta at the moment. We're about to go soft launch and going into global launch here shortly. So we're hoping to be that beacon of light of like, oh, got it. Let's just do what they did as far as mass adoption is concerned. And then at that point, like I had said, in the next year, 2, 3, it's really going to be a hard decision for gamers to be like, should I play this game or this game? They're both equally as fun, but I own the assets in that.
Well, I actually had another thought. I was in Bucharest early this year, I think in March, and I met a lady at, I think it was the Balkan Blockchain Conference. I don't remember exactly what the event's name was, but I met a lady who was from a move to earn kind of game. And I thought that was kind of similar, and it kind of speaks as well to that kind of same ethos. Because I wanted to really ask you how Web3 gaming is actually bringing gaming closer to reality, because that's kind of like what the episode is about. And that's what we've been talking about, basically storytelling, visuals, like, just actual gaming, and then bringing that into the real world, being able to monetize that if you want. And, actually bring that into a physical t-shirt, say for your kid. It was really cool because it was, you buy a pair of shoes and you go out on runs or whatever, and like it counts your steps. And like, there was also, an option with like a heart rate monitor. And basically you earn the app's tokens, their little, crypto tokens by exercising. And I thought that was really cool because that's such a good way. It's a game objectively. But it's healthy, and it's actually more about, okay, so you want to get fit, like let's get you fit. Let's give you also a way to maybe monetize that, or it's also good for influencers, if they're trying to show people, that motivate people, or coaches or whatever. So I thought that was a really interesting example. I just wanted to kind of share that because it's a non-play to earn model that can also help you monetize on something physical. Again, like a game is a physical game.
Yeah, it definitely gives a different type of motivation. I think that one of the things that is kind of also an issue with, I don't know if they've changed their model, but it's expensive to buy those pair of shoes.
Yeah. I mean, the heart rate option is pretty good.
Yeah, heart rate is heart rate, right?
Yeah, but it sucks because like I have a really low heart rate naturally. Like even when I'm running, it's just like low, like literally at the very bottom of what's acceptable. And I was just like talking to her, and I was like, but I basically won't be able to earn any tokens because I'm just me.
Right. Well, I mean, I guess what you can do, I mean, if you really wanted to take the lactic acid test, and yeah, I mean, yeah, well, I don't think you tamper with it, but where I was going with is, it's again the barrier of entry, and with us, we're free to play. Should you want to purchase anything, you can as you get into the ecosystem, where that's also a big issue in a lot of the Web3 and the play to earn space. Is your level of entry is a commitment of, anywhere, even if it's, $20, $30, $50 for a quote unquote NFT that now you can start earning tokens. That's a big barrier to entry for people who don't understand the space. They're like, I don't understand why I'm spending $50 on this.
You said free to play, but how I was going to ask about how with the app stores, I know there's like a 30% commission, I guess, on like stuff. How are you able to make like, how are you able to sustain basically your free to play model given that commission? And I mean, that's got to be tough.
Well, most mobile games that are successful are free to play to start. So, we have the same type of mechanism as far as you want to speed up opening up your war crates, which, allow you to level up your cards faster. You can buy the soft currency, and yes, there's a 30% fee on your app stores. But what people don't seem to understand is there's a 30% fee on Xbox. There's a 30% fee on PlayStation, on Steam, on all of these other platforms.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, everybody's like, oh my God, you're going to spend or give Apple or Google 30%. You're going to pay a platform to be on their platform a percentage of all revenue that comes in. And I also am like, well, why is it just because we're in Web3 or NFT gaming that we are on our high horse where we're not going to pay that 30%? Like, who do we think we are? No, we are trying to compete against other companies in Web 2 and just have a little bit of a different aspect of, ownership. But at the same time, as a game studio, which is what we are, we're fine with paying whatever the platform fee is. We built it into our prospectus, and it's just a cost of doing business. So we, all of the talk of, Apple's going to take their 30%, those are not entrepreneurs. They have no idea, honestly, how to put together prospectus and how to actually make money with something, because, having an app on an app store, right? There's scrutiny that goes into an app. Where as opposed to, well, I'm not going to pay them their 30%. Yeah, come to our website and download this in Web3. Good luck with that. Have fun getting your wallet stolen.
Yeah, like people in Web3 are a lot more aware of safety concerns than, everyone else.
Right. But at the same time, people are constantly clicking on weird stuff. Where if you have your app in an app store and you download it from the app store, there's a safety feature there, right? Again, I'd rather give the platform some money for number one, the exposure, number two, the platform, and number three, the safety. Yeah, to us, it's a non-issue whatsoever, especially anything that is purchased from game studio to the consumer.
That's really good, because I also feel like there was a lot of pushback at one point from the like Apple Store and the Google Play Store for like Web3 games and like anything that basically offered crypto or NFTs in terms of gaming. But like there was like some recent news where the Google Play Store kind of eased up on that. And like, yeah, you do need to be open about offering the fact that you have like NFTs in your app or like what your crypto is. And you can't be like super, what was it? I think the expression the article used is glamorize any potential earning from playing the game. And I was just like, yeah, but that's acceptable. So it was nice to see at least like Google be like, okay, you know what, there's actually a really big place for all of these apps. Let's embrace them rather than just push them away and like cut them off, because there's some good ones. So I thought that was really great. And since you kind of also talked about, I guess, mobile games, like you talked about like the mobile aspect already, and I know WAGMI Games is also very mobile focused. I wanted to ask about, why is mobile gaming so important in Web3 gaming in general? I know it's important in gaming too. And I also know that it's very important for adoption specifically, because everybody has a phone. Not everybody has an Xbox, but everyone has a phone. So can you kind of like lead us through the mobile aspect of Web3 gaming?
Yeah, absolutely. To us, mobile is the way to enter the gaming stratosphere, because number one, if you're an app store like we are and you accept fiat, now we have the ability to advertise against other Web2 companies, and our cost per download, we actually come from marketing and advertising, so we understand funnels and how to focus on user acquisition. But to get somebody into a console game, to get somebody into a PC game is a lot more expensive. So downloads of games are something that are cheaper as far as user acquisition is concerned. It's up to us as a game studio to keep the person in, to keep them enthralled. The game has to speak for itself. There has to be some fun elements to it. Things like live ops, so that people come back every single day and claim whatever they need to claim in order to continue to ascend in the leaderboards and level up their cards quicker. The other thing is, if you think about playing a game, the game loop. Some people don't have hour, 2 hour, 3 hours to sit and grind in front of a game.
Oh yeah, no way. Just nobody has that kind of time. Unless you're a professional gamer, that's just not you.
Unless you are a gamer's gamer and you probably don't have any kids, you just have a quick 9 to 5 job. You're just going to come home and go play a game for another 3 or 4 hours in front of your PC or console. It's a small segment of people, believe it or not. It's a very small segment. Even though there is money to be made in PC and console gaming, there's not that many like people who are just straight up gamers that can play nonstop. Where mobile is, I'm gonna go play 2 or 3 games of WAGMI Defense, and then I'll put it down.
Yeah, this is like something that it started as a trend in Web 2 as well. With like, I remember it with League of Legends, how a classic League of Legends game was like initially about at least 45 minutes, and then they started having other maps where it like kind of takes a little bit faster. It's like maybe 20-minute tops, and then they even got the mobile game where people are kind of on the go going at it. Like it really just changes the game.
It changes the ability for somebody to get in and be like, I just want to play a couple battles real quick.
So it's an entry tool, essentially. Yeah, you said it.
Yeah, it's an entry tool, but at the same time, think about this. If you're in bed and my wife is watching a reality TV show, I can be playing WAGMI Defense. I can't go in front of my PC or console and be like, all right, I'm going to get out of bed. I'm going to go grind. Right now, we're having quality time.
Yeah, I'm going to stare at my big screen while you stare at your little screen.
Right. Go to the bathroom. Yeah, go play a couple matches real quick. Waiting in line at a doctor's office. I'm gonna play a couple matches real quick. Oh, waiting in line to pick up my kid. I'm gonna play a couple matches real quick. See, and then all of a sudden, it's I've picked up the phone 4 or 5 times, played a couple matches, and then before you know it, you probably have the same amount of playing time over the course of a day for wasting time. I mean, it's like if you want to go on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram and TikTok and waste time there, you can, or you can have it where you're like, okay, well, I'm kind of bored with watching people go beep, 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 and now I'm gonna go play a game.
Very good chicken impersonation.
Thank you. Oh yeah, ride the cowboy, whatever the weird.
I'm planning to make TikToks out of episodes, so you've got 2 really good TikToks right there.
Oh, perfect. Ride the cowboy. There you go. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Oh my God.
But yeah, we believe mobiles. I mean, think about, TikTok, not even desktop, it's mobile. So if you just think about the accessibility moving forward with everybody, we just believe that mobile first. We do have plans to expand our franchise into PC-based game, which is going to be a lot more extravagant for the gamers, but that's after we've established our IP and our universe and having fun. And our plan is actually to have it where if you have your heroes in our game WAGMI Defense, those will be interoperable with game number 2. So it gives us an opportunity to re-engage our consumer base after they might have already played WAGMI Defense. Like, okay, I've already kind of mastered that game, kind of over it, but here comes game number 2. Now there's, again, no friction, very small barrier to entry. I have already spent, thousands of dollars and I have all of these cards from WAGMI Defense. Now I can then have some interoperability from my wallet directly into game number 2 and start playing immediately with my flex.
It's so important as well with interoperability, because that's something I definitely had in my notes. And I wanted to talk about interoperability, maybe not just from like one game to another, but how like blockchain has interoperability between chains. There's people building bridges and everything. Do you see that happening? Like, so you said from your mobile game to like maybe your PC game or your new game or whatever, which is amazing because that's kind of like, guys, do you remember when you had The Sims 3 and you had this great family and you worked like for 2 years on that and then The Sims 4 came out and you couldn't move your family into The Sims 4? Yeah, that sucked, didn't it? That's over now. Ian has solved this problem. That's the best thing. Thank you, Ian. And everyone else in Web3 gaming and interoperability. But do you ever see games, like will we get crossover episodes of games like the Powerpuff Girls with Dexter and Kids Next Door? Or is Mojo Jojo not going to make an appearance in Dexter's Lab?
Yeah, so that has to do with game studio to game studio. I think that people think that interoperability, just because it's NFTs, it's going to appear. No, we have to make a deal with another IP brand and say, great, now we're going to rig our character to fit in yours and vice versa and make it a big deal, right? So really it's more of a co-creation and combining of communities and support for each other and not necessarily having such a split down of, state and religion and saying, we're going to compete against you and not have any collabs whatsoever. So
that's the thing, though. I remember when I was a kid watching Cartoon Network, the most exciting possible episode ever on any show was a crossover episode. So I think that's like suddenly it opens up so many opportunities because you've also not only got just many different games, but you might have multiple games that are built on the same blockchain. And that makes interoperability really easy between the 2 games. But, you've also got different, blockchains that can also, you can build bridges. You can figure this out. So I think like that's something new, like relatively new between game studios that's like I see as huge potential as for human collaboration and more excitement to gamers, I guess.
Right. So think about what's happened recently with music. If you go back 10, 15 years and you had, it was very rare to have 2 artists that come together on one song because they'd have to split royalties. There were publishing deals. Nobody wanted to do it. Now, I mean, I would say 50% of everything you hear, especially in pop hip hop, are multiple artists coming together onto one song because they know that their reach is bigger. And when it's all said and done, it's all about the success of their brand as opposed to just the royalties on one song. So I think that gaming is also experiencing a little bit of a renaissance there in Web3 because, us builders that are so small in comparison to, all of gaming, we kind of need to work together in order to get our communities together. So really, yes, having a character, for example, a General Stamima, that is actually one of the guys who's on, Shrapnel because, he's a human and he can be a first person shooter. He can come in and maybe we get a mech from, Metalcore that, is something that you can get and play into our game. And then we create a card that basically includes the Metalcore's community into our game and its special edition, its seasonality. Same with content creators. We believe that we want to have content creators to have a DNA within our game. So we're creating, a affiliate program for content creators in which they can make revenue off of anybody that people spend within our game. But what we're doing is we're actually creating content creator cards for them based off of a character that they choose or that we assign them. So that, let's say it is a General Stamima card, it might be a General Stamima card, Mr. Beast special edition, and we change the color of it, right? So therefore he can give those away. It gets people into our game. It creates a community. So when people are playing their game, you see who you're playing and what cards they're playing. So you'll know if somebody's playing Founders Pack cards, legendary cards, content creator cards right before you enter that match, which again, it's that flexing mechanism. And then let's say you are playing somebody who is also playing a Mr. Beast. And you're like, dude, I'm playing somebody else from my old community. As soon as the game is over, let me add them to my clan, or let me reach out to them and be like, yo, you want to go ahead and play this fun Mr. Beast tournament? And it creates that sense of community is what we're really focused on. So I know that, again, another rant as to interoperability and cross IP, but it goes way beyond just the game studios. It comes into community, and it's all about the communities coming together and not just having this massive amount of competition.
I feel like the gaming world, it's a bit of an autopoetic feedback loop that goes on with the gaming world, because you have gamers who are a very strong community people. They stick to their stories, they get excited, they connect internationally through, I think it's Twitter and Discord that they're using most these days, I guess. And I think Reddit as well. A lot of them read a lot of Reddit. But they're this really strong community, and then you're putting them in an ecosystem with a lot of interoperability that gives them even more tools to reach out to one another and play more different games, or even, just be more sustainable to like in their togetherness. And it just kind of like turns the circle, because it improves the community, and then the community improves, because gamers are very very techie crowd. I don't know a gamer who has ever been like, oh, I can't connect my mic. Yeah, they might stop their mic for a while, but then they will go and fix it. They will read everything on Reddit and they will fix their mic. And they know things about software. They know their ping. They know their frames per second. Like they pull it up and they see, and they're just like, no, this ping is not okay. I'm not playing with this internet connection. And then they freak out and they go fix it, or they shout at their dad. I don't know. Or their sister who's watching Netflix.
But gamers are like that. Gamers are like that. Not necessarily all casual gamers on mobile are like that.
Well, yeah. But I mean, I guess it's just kind of like how strong a community they are, and they're a techie community, and that just feeds into this Web3 element, because they're really able to boost it and like play with it, which is really great. And I was wondering, actually, in that sense, since gamers interact so much in the virtual world, where the crossover between Web3 gaming and the metaverse is, and like what you think that's going to lead to.
Yeah, so metaverse is something that's a work in progress. I think that once AR, VR is a little bit more accepted. I know that obviously Apple just came out with their Apple goggles and stuff like that. And we know that Facebook's been working on their Oculus for quite some time. And I think that the metaverse is, you're 5 years away from a metaverse, honestly. I mean, people are building right now, which is great. But to have people go into a metaverse is something that I think is years away. And the way I think metaverse is going to be, in addition to gaming, is I think shopping. I think shopping is going to be massive for the metaverse. So for example, I want to go into a Louis Vuitton store through the metaverse, touch and feel and look at these purses, and actually feel like I'm there when I'm not, and then be able to purchase something and having it to your house the next day. I think that's metaverse.
gut reaction to the metaverse. It was about, I think it was 2 years ago when one of our co-founders, Costa, he told me, go research the metaverse. We want to do like a press release around the metaverse. So I went and I researched it, and I was just kind of like, what I imagined was that the metaverse is the new way we're going to interact with the internet. And I was just like, okay, so if you have Wikipedia and you are accessing it on a screen through a page right now, I was just like, well, Wikipedia is going to be a physical library that I'm going to be able to walk through and actually pull things. And for the sake of efficiency, I could probably kind of like in a game, fast forward to certain places or just directly input what I'm looking for and be teleported there. Thank God for not having to ride through the entire Skyrim map, because that was horrible. That was nice. It was nice. But, that's how I imagined we'd be interacting with the internet. Yeah, you said it's 5 years away. I was kind of hoping it would be now. But the reason I asked was just because I feel like these digital worlds that you're physically in are something that is very innate to gaming. And we're probably going to access this kind of metaverse with like your Louis Vuitton store and my physical Wikipedia library through, I think the first people who are going to probably make it happen are probably people with a gaming background.
I don't disagree with that. Gaming is the natural progression into Web3. It just is. So, can you be engulfed into Call of Duty? Can you be engulfed into a game or a universe, or even if it's not even playing the game and you just want to go meet the characters, and you're able to leverage a little bit of ChatGPT-4, teach them, what these characters' attributes are, how they speak, and then you rig somebody in Unreal Engine 5, and then you're talking to a character in real time. Those are cool things that are probably going to be first before the full-blown, immersion of metaverse and, being able to run around. But, we already have some of that already with virtual reality. It's not much different, though it's already out there. It's just another term on how it can be expansive based off of different brands and outside of gaming. So I almost feel like you could put on Google's and you can play games already. Like, it's already there. What makes that any different of the metaverse? That it's just a metaverse, right? It's that specific brand's metaverse and how they want to leverage it and how they want to use it. So I think the term metaverse is just something that's way too broad. I think that what we're going to be is like, okay, I'm going to go enter this mall, and this mall's metaverse has 10 different stores. It's all the luxury, purse brands or what have you. Great. I just entered that metaverse, and that was that. So I almost feel like it's just a extension of reality. And all of those things are going to be basically built, and it's going to be, I honestly am almost scared a little bit that there's going to be a lot of people that can't get out of the metaverse, that they like it there.
It's going to be like a Ready Player One situation, right? Like it's Ready Player One all the way. That really scares me as well. But I do have a colleague, because Ready Player One is very VR, that whole movie is all about, you put on your goggles and your suit and you're like entirely in virtual reality. And that's where people's lives are, because the real world isn't very cool anymore because it's been destroyed. But I have a colleague who phrased it really nicely a while ago. He told me, I don't really think the future is really VR. I think it's AR. And VR is just going to be like a more entertainment kind of like just if you want to play area.
Agreed. So if you think about what AR is, so you're combining reality with virtual. That's what AR essentially is. So yeah, you're still walking down the street, but you can still have your cartoon characters come at you and chat with you, right? So it's still kind of scary. I do believe that you're going to have a lot of people that delve into the metaverse, AR, and they're going to have a hard time actually having conversations with human beings, because they're having an easy conversation with an AI-driven, avatar.
They could be having conversations with human beings just in a virtual or augmented reality space. So, you don't know where it's going to go.
So somebody's avatar, and then when you meet them in real life, you're like, I just don't know how to.
Since we're kind of running out of time, I wanted to ask you if you have any final thoughts on kind of the topic of Web3 gaming, if there's anything you want to say specifically about how essentially Web3 gaming can change society.
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily changing society. I think that, your aspirations need to just be your focus on digital collectible ownership, as opposed to not. Like, for example, if you wanted to buy one of the old Mario cartridges from the original consoles, they're still selling that physical cartridge for anywhere between $500 to $5,000 on eBay. So right now, gamers don't have that on a digital aspect, where digital collectible ownership on the blockchain, NFT technology, that finally gives them that ownership. So regardless of, WAGMI Defense, let's say we have a good solid 3, 4, 5 year run, right? And we decide, okay, we're going to go ahead and close down shop, and either we're focusing on game number 2 or game number 3. Maybe we're just focusing on our entertainment transmedia, and we're just focused on production, whatever it might be. All of those assets are still owned by the people that bought them, or that can, and you can sell them, you can trade them. So, fast forward 20 years from now, and WAGMI Games and WAGMI Defense is one of the OGs, one of the companies that actually changed the landscape of Web 2 to Web 3 as far as digital collectible ownership. And it's like, wow, season 1, General Stamima, legendary card, Founders Pack. Like, there's only a few of those in the world, but they're still available. Like, we didn't force a close down of all of our assets, and they live on the blockchain forever. I think that's what's exciting about Web3 gaming. And it's not necessarily changing the world. It just gives power to the players as far as being able to own stuff, as opposed to not owning stuff.
Yeah, I guess it really is about how player-driven and player-centric decentralizing ownership in the game actually is. I think that's just such a great message for, people to see. And I think gamers are seeing it really well, this ability to actually own the things that you own in these, like in what would otherwise be a centralized platform where you aren't really in charge of anything. Well, thanks very much, Ian, for this lovely podcast. I think it's been really great, especially finally talking about a really purely non-financial topic. Yeah, and I guess I'll catch you around, and we're all going to make it.
Magy, appreciate you having us on the show. And yes, we are. We're all going to make it. And just so we know, it feels like we're finally coming out of this bear market. And one of the things that I've always coined was build and bear, bask and bull. And we've just been building in a bear market. And it's those builders that are consistently grinding in this bear market. We're all going to come out of this thing looking really, really good, as far as especially any kind of external investors that come in, that we keep it simple for them to understand what we're doing. And then being able to say, okay, here's an ecosystem that allows you to come in and say, wow, I want to be a part of that ecosystem. So yeah, we feel that we've been doing that pretty well in the bear market, and just looking forward to really seeing millions and millions of people download our app and play the game and really get introduced for the very first time on the benefits of Web3 and crypto and blockchain NFT technology. So we're excited about it. So thank you so much for having us. Thank you.
No, thanks very much as well. And enjoy your kid's birthday, really.